What is up, my friends? Welcome back to another episode of Flippin' Bats. We got a great week. Obviously, this episode we'll talk power rankings. June has come to an end, so we have a brand new power rankings. We're also going to talk the new home run derby rules, which is great. We're going to talk Cubs. We're going to talk Shohei Ohtani. We're going to talk the Astros. This is going to be a fun episode, but also got another one coming this week. John Smoltz is coming back. He will be on an episode later this week. So a lot of fun stuff coming. Stay tuned for that. About halfway through the season right now, meaning the All-Star game is right around the corner. But Monday was a big day, my friends. Bobby Bonilla Day. In case you're wondering, yes, Bobby Bonilla still gets paid every single year on July 1st. Got another $1.19 million on Monday. That will continue through 2035. So 11 more years of Bobby Bonilla getting paid and Bobby Bonilla Day. I think my favorite part of Bobby Bonilla Day is that this is not even close to the most ridiculous. We still celebrate that because it was really one of the first and more well-known deferred contracts. But why do Shohei's about to get $68 million a year when his career ends. Chris Davis is getting $65 million from the Orioles from 2022 to 2037, getting $6.1 million this year. Chris Davis, who's not going to do any good for the Orioles this year, is making more than the entire Baltimore Orioles infield. Think about that for a second. Gunnar Henderson, Westberg, Mountcastle, all of them making more than all of them. So I know we still talk about Bobby Bonilla Day, but man, there's a lot bigger fish to fry out there. Also, shout out to Major League Baseball who had the game at Rickwood Field about a week or so ago and sent me this really cool mini helmet, Rickwood Field helmet, and also this infield dirt from Rickwood Field. Authentic dirt in this cup. Love that. Actually, the game was really, really cool. If you didn't see it on Fox, that game was awesome. So let's talk home run derby. New rules have been announced for the derby. I think that's a big win. Big win for the derby. I do wish that we could still just go back to 10 outs. You hit a homer, that's not an out. You hit anything other than a homer, that's an out. I think it was edge of your seat type of stuff, but alas, we're getting closer to that. Let me explain. This year, the first round, there will be 8 hitters. The top 4 advance. So that's already a difference because before it was that player A versus player B. Whoever wins advances. No, this is whoever hits the most home runs. Top 4 advance. The next round is bracket style. So the 4 seed will face the 1 seed. The 3 seed will face the 2 seed. And that is based on home runs from the first round. Obviously, the top 2 face off in the finals. First 2 rounds, 3-minute rounds, 40 pitches, 1 timeout. And now this is why I say it's getting a little closer to the 10-out thing. There are 3 bonus outs. Every swing is either a home run or an out. If you hit a 425-plus homer in the bonus round, you earn 1 more out. The finals is 2 minutes, 27 pitches, 1 timeout. Same bonus rules. So look, basically, this is 40 pitches in the early rounds, 27 pitches in the finals. The timer is just in place to stop guys from taking until they get the perfect pitch, which is what Major League Baseball is trying to get rid of, which is why they went away from the 10 outs in the first place. But I love that. So I think they're just trying to mesh that gap a little and kind of bring that back. But I love that. Please, for the love of God, let's just go back to the 10 outs format. That was incredible. Gunnar Henderson's going to be a part of it this year. He's the first guy to say he's in. Who knows who else is going to be in? Shohei has said he wants to participate, but isn't sure if he's going to be able to, or if the Dodgers will love that, or whatever. But great name to start this off already. Gunnar Henderson, friend of the pod a couple times, is already signed up and ready to go. Let's talk Chicago Cubs, my friends. The Chicago Cubs It is not pretty. So let's step back to this offseason when one of the bigger signings of the offseason wasn't even a player, it was the manager, Craig Counsell, taking him away from the interdivision rivalry, their rival, the Milwaukee Brewers. You sign Craig Counsell to become the highest paid manager ever, ever. And you get basically the same team after you re-sign Belly, but you add Michael Busch via a trade and add Shota Imanaga, who you're not sure exactly what you're going to get there, but you feel like you have a pretty good chance of making the playoffs. Team on the cusp of the playoffs last year, add a couple pieces this year, and here they are sitting in dead last place after losing a series to the team that is at the top of the division that you took their manager away from them. Your division rival take their manager. They lose their closer. They lose one of the best pitchers in baseball, their ace. They get rid of him. He goes to the Orioles. Devin Williams, his back, he's been out all year long. And all the Brewers are doing is sitting in first place and hitting a grand slam every single day, while the Chicago Cubs are here with this new highest paid manager in all of baseball sitting in dead last place. They played 21 games against teams currently under 500 in the month of June. They went 9-12. 9-12 against those teams. When we look back on the 2024 Chicago Cubs, June will be the month where they dug their own grave. You got Justin Steele, who's a stud, out there yelling at the team, trying to pump them up. The offense just is not working. Dansby Swanson's on a big contract. Get him from the Braves. Just hitting 217. Not good out of him. Cody Bellinger's been basically their best hitter. He's on a 3-year deal, $80 million. Has an opt-out after this year and after next year, but he's hitting 267. Is that a 27, $28 million player? I don't know. Maybe in this current day and age in baseball, but is he going to opt out of those years? Probably not. So are you going to trade Cody Bellinger now? You're sitting in last place. You got Michael Busch, your new addition, hitting 258 with some pop. So really, that's kind of all you could ask for and hope out of him. P. Crow Armstrong, PCA, hitting under 200. He's your top prospect. This team can't hit. You got Ian Happ hitting 229, Christopher Morel hitting 198 while leading the team in homers. That's a problem in itself. 228 as a team. They're hitting 228 as a team. That's the 25th in baseball, ahead of only the Tigers, the Pirates, the A's, the White Sox, and the Mariners. 25th, while playing at Wrigley Field, where some days the wind blows out 100 miles an hour and you pop it up and it gets out. It's unacceptable for the Chicago Cubs to not be better. I thought they were a playoff team this year. I think they thought they were a playoff team this year. And you step back and realize, man, why'd we think that? This team's way too streaky. This offense can't hit. Man, it's tough. You're paying guys to be guys. You're paying Dansby to be a guy. And I love Dansby Swanson, but you are not paying Dansby Swanson to be a Gold Glove defensive shortstop. You're paying him to be that guy he was with the Atlanta Braves for the last couple of years that can hit you, 270, 290 with some power. Well, he's hitting 212. So if you're the Chicago Cubs, what do? You just paid this manager all the money in the world. You have the benefit of being in the National League where every team is pretty much fine unless you're the Rockies or the Marlins. But the Cubs are dwindling fast. The division lead is out of question. The Cubs aren't going to win the NL Central. They're just not. Do they have a chance at a wild card? Sure, but pretty much everybody does. So there's a million teams you have to climb over or battle it out with, and somebody's going to get hot. Look at what the Mets have done over in Queens. So I don't know. You have some questions to answer. What do you do with Belly? Do you trade Cody Bellinger? Do you try and get something back? What direction do we go in with the future? PCA was the future of this team. When he came up last year, didn't hit very well. Hitting under 200 this year. Again, yes, he plays fantastic defense. One of the best defensive outfielders in baseball. But at some point, this offense just has a bunch of defensive guys in it that need to step up. Nico Horner finally seems to be starting to turn the corner and back to maybe the direction he was last year. But Yeah, you got a great defense. Great up the middle. Best up the middle defense in all of baseball, dare I say. Dansby Swanson, Nico Horner, PCA when he's playing center. That's fantastic. You got to score some runs at some point, and the Chicago Cubs aren't doing that. So June was an abysmal month for them, just awful. And again, when you look back on the month of June for the Cubs, I think it's going to be the month where they dug their own grave for the 2024 season. It has not been pretty. Where things have been pretty, Shohei Ohtani. What a run this man is on. Over the last 2 weeks, listen to this. Over the last 2 weeks, and I know I talk about Shohei Ohtani a lot. I don't think we talk about him as a collective unit in baseball enough. Over the last 2 weeks, he's hitting 356 with 7 homers, 16 RBIs, a 1.381 OPS. He had an RBI in 10 straight games, which is an all-time Dodgers record. The Dodgers have been around for a long, long time. Shohei Ohtani has been a Dodger for a very, very short amount of time, and he's already breaking all-time records. He's got 26 homers on the year. We're now entering July, and he is the third Major League Baseball player ever to enter the month of July with at least 100 hits, 25 or more homers, 15 or more stolen bases, joining Alex Rodriguez in 1998 and Larry Walker in 1997. The tear this man is on is unbelievable. And I sat here and talked about it really early on this year and said, look, I don't know. It's never happened before, but there is a path in which Shohei Ohtani can absolutely win the MVP award this year. Did I have it happening? No, not going to sit here and say that I predicted that to happen. I had Ronald Acuna Jr. running it back. Not a great start to the year for him, and now it's definitely not going to happen because he is going to miss the remainder of the season with surgery once again. But I did believe it was a possibility, and now we're sitting here at the beginning of July when no designated hitter has ever won the MVP award in history. And you go look at the National League MVP odds right now, and he is the heavy favorite to win the award over the likes of Freddie Freeman, Bryce Harper's there, Ketel Marte, Marcelo Zuna. But the heavy favorite right now is Shohei Ohtani. What a stretch this man is on. Since 1951, this is the list of players with a 10-game stretch of 8 or more homers, 17 or more RBIs, 16 or more hits, and 11 or more walks. I know that's 5 different categories: home runs, RBIs, hits, walks. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 different categories. But here's this list. It's crazy. Shohei Ohtani this year, Ryan Howard in 2006, Bobby Abreu in 2005, Barry Bonds in 2004, and Jeff Bagwell in 1994. That's it. That's the list. Shut it down. DH MVP is well within the cards this year. All-Star games around the corner. He is going to be the starting DH for the National League in the All-Star game. It is quite the stretch he's on. By the way, I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out the Dodgers bat boy, Javier Herrera, after saving Shohei's life in the dugout the other day. Don't know if you saw the video, but ball comes flying into the dugout right at Shohei Ohtani's face. Bat boy Javier right there. Batman, might I say. Batman Javier sitting right there, just catches it like it's nothing. Legit. I'm not going to say legit saves his life, but legit might have saved him from serious injury. And it was just a funny process after that. I posted about it. Shohei posted about it and said, my hero. Javier got interviewed post-game by a huge scrum of reporters. Shohei Ohtani went out to that scrum and videoed it happening. And that's the video he posted saying, my hero. So shout out Javier. Been a bat boy for the Dodgers for 18 years and is out there saving lives, saving MVP seasons, might I say. So Shohei's still killing it. You know who's also killing it? Oh, man, am I excited about this one. You know who's killing it right now? A team that I have said all year long, every step of the way this season, through the downs and the ups, and then the downs and the downs and the downs, the Houston Astros are over 500 for the first time all year. Not only are they over 500, they are 3.5 games out of first place. First place in the American League West. They went 17-8 in the month of June, the best record in baseball. You want to go one step further? Through May 8th, they were 12-24. That is the third worst record in all of baseball. From that day on, May 9th through the end of June, 30-17. Again, the best in baseball. 3.34 ERA as a staff. That's the big change. Their pitching was abysmal. Bottom 5 in all of baseball in terms of ERA. In this last stretch, 3.34, second best in baseball. 218 batting average against, best in baseball. 272 batting average for the offense, best in baseball. This team has turned it around, and they have done it all in the month of June for the majority of the month without Kyle Tucker. So I'm going to say it now because I've been saying it all year. Through whatever anybody wants to say, you're blinded, you're an idiot, whatever anybody wants to say. And I could sit here on October 1st, and we could look back at this episode right here, at this show, and say, well, Ben, what do you got to say now? You're still an idiot. But I'm going to sit here right now and say, whoever out there wasn't believing, and I know that there's a lot of Astros fans that were even down. There were a lot of everybody else, but I continued to say the Astros are inevitable. Hang with them, hang with them, hang with them. This team is far too talented. 7 straight ALCS appearances. That has never happened in the history of the American League. And I continued to say how good this team is and that they will be fine. And I came up with this, with the worry meter, because I felt everybody was worrying a little too much. And I would sit there and be asked, well, when are you going to be worried? Because things aren't looking very good. And I said, if they're 10 games back at the All-Star break, I'll tell you I'm worried. But as of now, things can turn around real quick. How quick have they turned around? Well, over the last 12 days, the Mariners have blown 6.5 games off the division lead. They've lost 7 of their last 10. The Astros have won 9 of their last 10. Screw baby steps. Baby steps. Hell no, these are giant leaps that the Houston Astros are making. And as I continued to say all year long, while they were sitting somewhere between 5 and 10 games back from the division, guys, this can change around in a week. You can make up 4 games in 6 days. If a team goes on a skid and the Astros go on a tear, well, that's exactly what happened. But it's been more than a week. It's been the course of a couple weeks. And now they're sitting there 3.5 games out of first place. The Astros have been on an absolute tear. They have been the best team in baseball for over a month at this point. And I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. This doesn't take rocket science. It doesn't take me having a brother on the team for me to say, well, you're only saying this because you're rooting for him because of your brother on the team. I got news for everybody out there. Do I root for my brother's team? Absolutely. I have since I was 9 years old. When I was born, and he was playing for the Richmond Virginians, and then the Old Dominion Monarchs, and then the Coastal Plain Leagues, the Wilson Tobbs, and then the Detroit Tigers, and the Lakeland Flying Tigers, and the Houston Astros, and the New York Mets, and the Houston Astros. I will always root for him. But am I blinded by that? Absolutely not. Anybody that listens to this show knows that I will call out the Astros when they need to be called out. The playoffs, when they couldn't win a game at home, man, there was nobody calling them out as much as I was. It was embarrassing. That can't happen. This year, when they're not playing well, I'm not blindly saying, they're fine. They're playing great baseball. No, it was awful. But I believed they could turn it around because their track record tells me they're going to turn it around. It's not rocket science. Now here we are sitting early July, and they're fine. They're fine. Do they have questions that need to be answered? Yes. The back end of the bullpen has been answered. I believed that those arms were good enough to turn it around, and they have. I believe the offense was good. The rotation has question marks and has concerns. Framber is back, but you have a lot of guys. You have some arms that are. What's going to happen with Lance McCullers? Justin is currently out with his neck injury. So where do you turn? Let's say Justin comes back soon. Let's say he makes his next start. You still have pitching concerns. You still have a starting pitching depth issue. You still have too many question marks there, in my opinion, to win a World Series, which should be the goal every single year for the Astros. So where do you turn? And then you start to look at the arms that are out on the market. The biggest and the best arm that's going to go at this trade deadline is Garrett Crochet. I don't foresee that happening for the Astros. I think if I had to guess, I would say the Dodgers or the Padres end up with him. But again, I don't know. And again, this year was almost an experiment for him as a starting pitcher, and it's gone really well for the majority of it. A couple of months have been dominant. But are you giving up the farm for a pitcher that isn't the most proven starting pitcher? Well, one, the Astros don't have the best farm to give up anymore. There are others that they could probably turn to. But I look at the names of Yusei Kikuchi with the Blue Jays. But again, all of these, I have some names that I'm gonna throw out there. But all of these, with this extra wild card added, there are so many teams that will be in it. It's all going to come down to which teams decide to buy and which teams do decide to sell. So keep that in mind when I'm saying these names. I'm not saying every one of these is going to be traded or these teams are going to be sellers. It's just teams that, in my opinion, are going to be sellers or might be. So Yusei Kikuchi with the Blue Jays, Jack Flaherty with the Tigers. What are they going to do with him? You have Blake Snell with the Giants, not having a great year, also injured, but is he going to get traded? Scherzer with the Rangers, a couple of the Rangers guys, Scherzer and Eovaldi. Rangers have been awful. Severino with the Mets, if they decide to become sellers, but they've been really good lately. So those are some names out there. I would say for the Astros, maybe Kikuchi, Flaherty, and maybe one of those Rangers if they sell, but I doubt the Rangers do that. They probably won't go into division. But there are names out there. There are names possible. But the Astros are hot. They're the best team in baseball since May 9th. They're the best team in baseball in June. Put the dang worry meter down to a 2 out of 10. I never got to a 5. We're down to a 2. The Astros are rolling, and I've said it for years. The Astros are inevitable. And I'll keep saying it through the end of the year. I might look like a fool, but nobody can for 1 second say that I haven't stood my ground all year long. Never wavered. Let's move on to power rankings. Good time to move on to power rankings because we're going to start at number 10 with a team that wasn't ranked last week, a team that hasn't been ranked in a long, long time, a team that I've been doing a lot of talking about the last couple minutes of this show. The Houston Astros are back in the power rankings. They're 42 and 41 entering this new week. They're 3.5 games out of first place. And let me say one thing very clearly. These are power rankings. If you would like to look at the standings, feel free to open up the MLB app and it'll tell you the standings and everyone's record. The Houston Astros are the best team in baseball in June, the best record in June, the best record in all of baseball since May 9th. Their track record over that stretch, almost 2 months, speaks volumes. Are they currently in a playoff spot? No. Are they currently better than a lot of teams that are in a playoff spot? Yes. And I have them back in the power rankings here at number 10. At number 9, also new to the power rankings, the San Diego Padres. 5-1 last week, currently in the second spot for the wild card. Their offense has been a lot of fun to watch. The starting pitching holding it together. By the way, I shout out Matt Waldron, who beginning of the year just looked like we got to get this guy out of the rotation. We can't win baseball games with him on the mound. I love a good knuckleball, but man, I don't think it's working. He's been fantastic for a while now. So shout out him, that rotation holding it down, and the offense with Luis Arraez now added to it has just been really, really good. This offense changed a corner big time when Luis Arraez got traded over to the team. So I would love Luis Arraez. I love that guy. Friend of mine, had him on the pod before, friend of the pod. Would love to bring him back on the show here soon and just talk to him about the difference he's made for the team and how much fun it is playing with this Padres team. So they're here at number 9. Moving on to number 8, down 2 spots. I bumped them up big time after seemingly they were back, but the Atlanta Braves back down 3-4 last week. They are still holding down the top spot in the NL wild card, but this team is befuddling. I don't know why that word came to mind, but it felt right. And I think it works great. This team is befuddling. They're a really good team. And obviously, we can talk the beginning of the year. Strider, Acuna, are they going to have Cy Young and MVP? And then you have Austin Riley and all these names. They have such a great offense. Well, Strider and Acuna both go down for the year. Team starts playing pretty bad baseball. Finally, last week, I bump them up a good bit because they were back to playing great. And then they just lose a bunch of games this week. They had no business losing 3-4 on the week. So bumped them down 2 spots. They're at number 8. At number 7, the Minnesota Twins. Up 2 spots. They went 4-2 last week. Currently sitting there in a wild card spot as we speak. Same with the Brewers, who I have at number 6, up 2 spots. 5-1 last week. Swept the Texas Rangers. Beat the Cubs in that weekend series. We already talked all about the Chicago Cubs and how disappointing their season has been. Well, on the contrast, I'll say it again and again. I've been saying it all year with the Astros, and I'm not ready to yet take a victory lap, but I've been saying it with the Brewers as well. On the contrast, I was wrong about the Brewers. I'm not afraid to say when I was right. I'm not afraid to say when I was wrong. And I was wrong about the Milwaukee Brewers. They've been really, really good. I had this division as a complete flip-flop. I thought the Brewers would be down towards the bottom. Here they are at the top without their ace pitcher, Corbin Burns. Without not just ace, one of the best pitchers in baseball, Corbin Burns. He goes to the Orioles. You think, man, what are we doing? You trade away your closer and Josh Hader and get nothing in return a couple of years ago. Devin Williams, their all-star closer now, hasn't pitched and has back issues and won't pitch until after the all-star break. And man, what is this team going to be this year? Well, they're a first-place team, and they're beating their division rival who took their manager away from them. They get a new manager, and here they are. Top the NL Central, hitting a grand slam every single day. 5 grand slams in the last 8 days. Think about that. 5 grand slams in 8 days. It is absolutely bonkers. Some might say befuddling what the Milwaukee Brewers are doing right now in that division. Good for them. They're up 2 spots. On to the top 5. We'll start with the New York Yankees. Down 3 spots. They've been in the number 1 spot for a while. They were in the number 2 spot. Now they're down 3 spots, barely in the top 5. They went 2-4 on the week. They were swept by the New York Mets and then split a series against the Toronto Blue Jays, who just are downright bad this year. So I'm a little down on the New York Yankees right now. Do I think they'll be fine? Absolutely. Why? Because they now have Juan Soto, they now have Garrett Cole back, and they have Aaron Judge, who in the month of June led Major League Baseball in batting average with 409 average. He hit 409, led with 37 RBIs. Nobody else was even close. Those are both, honestly, nobody was close to those numbers. 37 RBIs in the month of June and hit 409. He's on an absolute tear right now, though the New York Yankees are not. So I do believe they'll turn it around and be just fine. Again, they've been number 1 in the power rankings for a while. They've been number 2 for a while. But I slid them down a good bit this week just because their last 10-plus games has just been pretty tough. Honestly, since Garrett Cole came back, they have not been playing good baseball. But that's not the reason why. Garrett Cole is, when right, the best pitcher in baseball. The Yankees will be just fine. They're here at number 5. At number 4, up 1 spot, the Los Angeles Dodgers, 4-2 on the week. They swept the White Sox, but they did lose 2 out of 3 to the Giants. They swept the White Sox. You should sweep the White Sox. Big weekend series against the Giants, who are trying to turn things around, and they go to San Francisco and they lose that series. So really just bumped them up that 1 spot because I just slid them over the Yankees. They didn't go up 1 because of really the way they played, but up 1 because they're playing better than the Yankees. On to number 3, the Cleveland Guardians. Stand strong here at number 3. That's where they were last week. They did win 2 out of 3 games against the Orioles, but then they turn around and lose 3 out of 4 to the Royals. So 2-3 was difficult for me, but I ended up keeping the Guardians here at 3. So weak. Obviously, a massive series against the Orioles, one of the best teams in baseball. They win that. That was a telling series for them. That was a statement series. And then you turn around and lose 3 of 4 to the Royals, who, again, much better this year. but on a pretty tough skid at the moment. And so I did keep them here. So at number 2, I bumped them up 2 spots again because I slid the Yankees down 3, and I did jump them up to number 2, the Baltimore Orioles. They went 4-3 on the week. Over the course of the week, they won 4 games in a row. They're back in the division lead. The Baltimore Orioles are your current 2024 AL East leaders. And I love this team. I would also put them in the same category as the Astros. When we were talking about starters earlier, they're one of those teams. Who are they going to go get? They obviously have the farm system to go get Garrett Crochet if they want, but do you spend that farm system on a fairly unproven starting pitcher that I will admit has been absolutely dominant when he's pitching right this year? Do they go get a Yusei Kikuchi? Do they go get Jack Flaherty? Do they go get one of the Rangers pitchers and Scherzer, Rivaldi? Who knows? But I do think they're going to need a starter with the Kyle Bradish news. Obviously, Corbin Burns is a stud at the top of that rotation, but they need some help in their rotation. I really believe that. But I have them here at number 2 because I love that team. I love the offense. I really like the Baltimore Orioles. I think they're a really good team. I have them as my American League champions this year and in the World Series, playing against the current number 1 team in my MLB Power Rankings, and that is the Philadelphia Phillies, staying strong here. They won 2 out of 3 games against the Tigers on the week. They split a series with the Marlins. Fairly underwhelming week here for the top 5. Obviously, the Phillies winning a series with the Tigers, losing to the Marlins, the Orioles losing to the Guardians, but then winning 4 in a row. Guardians winning 2 out of 3, but then dropping a series. Dodgers dropping the weekend series. Yankees splitting with the Jays, getting swept by the Mets. Top 5, pretty underwhelming. That's 6 through 10. That gap is closing. It was a fairly big gap between number 1 and number 10, and number 1 and number 6. But now we're really closing that gap between the top 5 and 6 through 10. But the Philadelphia Phillies holding strong here with a couple injuries to some big time players for them. But I just love that rotation. I love what they're able to do with Wheeler, Nola, Suarez. Suarez has been unbelievable this year. Wheeler and Suarez are top favorites to win the NL Cy Young Award. The offense, despite missing their guys, despite Harper's, despite his injury, they're rolling, and they're a really, really good team. They are my 2024 World Series champions. That is absolutely not a victory lap because it's July 2nd, and that means absolutely nothing. But as we currently sit, my World Series matchup is the number 1 and number 2 teams in my power rankings, but the Phillies rounds that out. So the power rankings back in the top 10, the Houston Astros at number 10, Padres number 9, Braves number 8, Twins number 7, at 6, the Brew Crew, 5, the Yankees, Dodgers at 4, Guardians at 3, Orioles at 2. And the Philadelphia Phillies are number 1 in this week's power rankings. Fun episode, my friends. A lot to discuss, a lot going on. Again, I said it earlier, John Smoltz, though, is back on Flippin' Bats this week. We'll keep you posted there. Again, make sure you're following everywhere. On all social medias. That really helps, and it helps you keep you up to date with what's coming out. I know the schedule is a little bit different right now than it was a couple weeks ago, but things are starting to get back to normal, and a lot more shows are coming out. So this one, obviously Tuesday, John Smoltz coming out a little while later this week. Make sure you subscribe. Wherever you listen to your podcast, follow, subscribe. It's free to do that. It also really helps, and it'll alert you when a new episode comes out. So Flippin' Bats Pod, anywhere you listen to your podcast. We're on all social media. You can watch every single episode on YouTube as well at Flippin' Bats Pod there. But I am just really appreciative of you all for listening, and really appreciative of Major League Baseball for sending me this cup of dirt. It all means a ton to me. I appreciate you all. We will be back very shortly with the Hall of Famer from the Atlanta Braves, John Smoltz, who joins this show every single week. So appreciative of you all for listening. As always, midway point of the season, my friends, All-Star game is around the break. All-Star break is around the corner. We'll be back very soon. So remember, everyone, find your bat and flip it.